If I had to make $30,000 a month with Faceless YouTube from scratch in 2026, here's everything that I'm going to do. So let's first off go over, have I actually made $30,000 on YouTube before? Absolutely, many 30K months, over 2 mil subscribers. So you're in for a good one. And I've even been able to help my students scale up their channels to 20K a month in a year, $30,000 a month. So I'm in this video basically going to share with you what I advise people do, how I run my channel, so you can emulate it for yourself and start making money on YouTube in 2026. So let's talk about the first step of the process, which is the niche selection process. So if we want to be making $30,000 per month, we need to make sure that we're pursuing a niche that actually aligns to that income goal. Not every niche is going to allow us to get there. And so if you end up pursuing a niche that's not going to get you there, you're going to waste a lot of your time because you're basically trying to build something that's not aligned to your goals. You're going to waste money, especially if you're not in a niche that's really going to make you any money. Or alternatively, you're just going to fall short on your goals again, and you're going to have spent your resources in a niche that would be better have been spent in another niche that you can use to get to your income goal. So the whole point is you want to make sure that you are working towards a niche that can actually pay you the amount that you want. So how do we find a niche? Well, we can use a tool like TubeLab. So if we open up TubeLab, you're going to be able to see how I use it and how I recommend you use it to grow your channel. So one of the things that you can do is you can do the following. You can basically create set filters to be able to see which channels are actually making the kind of money that you want to make. So for example, we can basically go all-time channels, then we can filter for Faceless and monetize because obviously we want the channels to be making money, and then we can enter in our $30,000 target. So now we scroll down, we can hit English and see what channels are making the type of money that we want to make, right? So as we scroll down here, you're seeing all these different channels that are making the types of income that we want to make at $30,000 per month. So the thing that I really can't solve for you is deciding if these niches are those that you are interested in and that you would want to pursue yourself. Because if they're not interesting to you and you're starting your journey and things are a little bit hard at the beginning, you're probably going to end up quitting because you won't see those instant results. So my recommendation for you is to just simply select a niche that interests you so that at the very least you're having fun as you're building it. And then once you start to get more viewership, you're going to get way more rewards, not only from the enjoyment perspective, but also the income perspective as well. So don't waste your time trying to scour YouTube for opportunities that can pay you $30,000 a month. Just simply use a tool like this. It's going to allow you to filter for exactly what you're looking for and go from there. So once you have a niche for your channel, here's one you can see making a substantial amount of money. What you need to think about next is going to be the format selection process for your channel. You see, people, they just enter a niche and they just do whatever they see in front of them, and that's often why they don't gain any traction. So you want to be thinking about what the format for your channel is going to be. Now, if you're unfamiliar with that term, because it's one that's a little bit lesser known, your format for your videos is equating to the length, the structure, and the appearance of your videos. So you can make really short videos, longer videos, super long videos. You can structure them like compilations, like listicles, stories, how-to guides, etc. And you can obviously have different appearances like animated, images only, stock footage, third-party footage, AI talking head, anything like that, right? So you need to determine what format you're going to use on this channel to build it up to $30,000 a month. And this is exactly how I think about it. So on YouTube, as you know, it's not the simplest task to build up a channel, right? You need to make sure that you're gaining attention, that attention is going to turn into viewership, subscribers, income, etc. So one of the quickest ways to grow a channel on YouTube still in 2026 is to use a unique format so that you stand out from your competition and that people are naturally going to gravitate towards your channel versus other people's in the niche. So here's just a quick example of how this has been applied by one of my students successfully. So as you can see right here on the channel, this is Chris Invests. In the personal finance niche, when it comes to faceless channels, a lot of these channels are using this tool called Video Scribe to create these, hand-drawn animations. Again, it definitely works, but it's just been done for years and years and years. So it's not really new, it's not really novel, etc. But here you see an example of a figure that looks like someone from Family Guy. So you can see here that basically this is something that's going to stand out. It's unique, it's different, and people gravitate towards that. And that's how my student Yan was able to grow his channel to, now it's over 100,000 subscribers, but over $30,000 per month. So again, how do I know that this system works? Because I've used it and my students use it as well. And if you do want to learn how we can build this together, you can just click the link in this video's description. Now, finding gaps in formats in your niche, okay? So it's going to look like a two-step process. So first, you need to find working formats on YouTube. Now, this particular format right here that I just showed you is basically a trailblazer in the niche. Now it's being used a little bit more, but basically you want to just be looking at what's already working, because if a format is working in one niche, very often it could be pulled into another. So what you want to do is what's working and then assess presence in your niche. So my recommendation to see what is working in your niche is to use the following filters on TubeLab. So again, you can just go on the homepage and see what gets recommended to you, but you really want to be looking at breakout channels that are going to be a better indicator of really what's working right now. So the filters I recommend, less than 6 months old, they are making over $1,000 per month, and they have over 50,000 subscribers. So let me show you what this could look like. So if I go on filters, we said a year old max, we said at least $1,000, and then we said that it had 50,000 subscribers to channel. And we want English channels, and we're going to set the filter. And so now what we're basically able to see are different formats that's working. Here you have, this like black and white animated format. Here you have basically self-recording, but a faceless channel. Here you probably have images, if I had to guess. And here you have video game footage. So what you're trying to do is identify formats that are being used on other channels on YouTube. Doesn't have to be in the niche that you want to pursue. It just simply has to be working on YouTube. So this is how you're going to gain the inspiration. Obviously, it's working because these channels are making thousands of dollars per month. And so that's a really good start to the process. So again, my recommendation for you is really to understand, okay, what's working? Fantastic. Now, let's just say that I wanted to see, okay, maybe we want to use this channel as an example channel, right? Let's pull it up and we see Unordinary Mind. So this is the channel that's recently started to break out. As the time I'm recording this, it's been active for 1 month, already making well over $6,000-$7,000 per month, which is not too shabby. And you can see that the videos are using this very unique format. So let's open up the video and let's just take a look, right? And so again, it's basically employing that strategy that I've been talking about in this video.
In our last conversation, we all feel like the rules.
So as I scroll through this, as you can see, it's just pictures, right? It's just pictures that are probably generated by AI, basically telling the story, right? And everyone's typically using stock footage, they're using animations, and those things can work, but this is just totally unique. And you can see that this video has almost, in 2 weeks, almost 1 million views. So again, clearly, estimated earnings on the video, roughly $5,000. So this can work. So now the question you have to be asking yourself is, okay, well, is this format being used in the niche that I want to pursue, right? So what's that going to look like, Adam? Well, my recommendation for you is that you go and review formats in the niche that you want to pursue. So let's say that you want to pursue a niche like personal finance. What I would do is I would open up in TubeLab. Again, you can just simply search on YouTube too, but this is just a little bit of a more effective way to do it, is I would just simply go personal finance. And then I would see, okay, out of the results that I'm getting, right, how many of them am I seeing that look like the style that I just saw on the other channel, right? So this one right here, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take that unique format and drop it into the niche that I want to pursue. So I'm seeing a lot of talking head. I'm seeing, you know, potentially some PowerPoint presentations even, and you can do filters and even make it faceless. And we can see some different options that, you know, are going to be a little bit more attuned to maybe what we're trying to filter down for. So again, what I would recommend you do is you open up these different videos, you watch them, you see if there's a style that you're trying to use. And if not, and you think that that format can work well for the types of videos that you're trying to depict, then you're really in an excellent place to begin your channel. Because again, if we can stand out, we can get traction faster and we can start making money sooner. However, you need to build out a content strategy. So my recommendation, if you want to start scaling out to tens of thousands of dollars a month and you do have a bit of a budget, is that you take a high volume approach. Now, usually when I advise my students, I tell them to upload one video per week because they're learning. We want to learn with the lowest cost possible. But if I was doing it, someone with a substantial budget for YouTube, or even just a moderate budget, I would probably be uploading one video per day on the channel. Channels like this, you know, how hard is it to generate 10 pictures for a 10-minute video? It's going to take you, 10 minutes to make this video. Not very hard, right? But why am I uploading, basically daily? I'm doing that because I want to basically give YouTube data about who our audience is as fast as possible, so then it can recommend our videos out to the same audience again and again and again, and basically get the channel a lot of fast growth right off the beginning. And where people tend to make the mistake is that they're pursuing topics over here, topics over there, and YouTube's like, well, who is your channel actually for? Or if they're only uploading once every week or 2 weeks, and what happens is that it just takes longer for YouTube to determine who your ideal audience is for the videos that you're releasing. So I just want to give YouTube as much data as possible right off the bat. So let's talk about the benefits of high volume. You're giving YouTube more data. You're able to test things quicker. So you're able to test basically, hey, is this format even working in this niche? Is, this thumbnail design style working or not? What topics are working really well so we can double down on them? So you're just going to be able to test much faster. And you're also going to get a market advantage because let's be real, right? Not everyone can upload each and every day. So if you're uploading every day, you have 30 opportunities, or 31 depending on the month, for growth in the month. Whereas people that are uploading once every 7 days just don't have as many opportunities. So what you're actually able to do, especially once you get the data and you figure out what works, is you can capitalize more on a niche because, again, you have the information that they potentially don't, right? Now, you may be asking yourself, Adam, how can you produce videos that quickly? Isn't it super expensive to upload videos daily, right? So typically in the past it was, even if you had a ton of money, it would still add up to a pretty substantial amount. However, in 2026, the tools available to create videos using AI are pretty incredible. So if you're doing something that's picture-based, something like this, you can definitely use a tool like TubeGen. So TubeGen, basically you just enter in the topic of the video. So in this case, it could say like career strategy for people with too many interests. And then it's basically going to write the script, do the voiceover, generate the images, and then you just need to pop it into CapCut and then output the file. And it's going to cost you around $8 per 10 minutes of video. So this video right here probably costs even less just because there's not a lot of images, but it is very cost effective. So again, maybe you're paying, $300 to upload one video per day in a whole month. That's pretty reasonable considering that you're probably going to be paying numerous multiples more if you didn't have access to this tool. Or if you're pursuing a niche that's not image based and it's something a little bit more traditional like this.
It has issues. Owners report free.
Right? Just where you're basically showing stock footage, third-party footage, etc. My recommendation for you and what I would be using is VidRush. So here you basically just enter in the topic, give the context, here's what I want my video to be about, and then it is going to write the script, do the voiceover, give you a thumbnail, and give you the outputted video. No editing required at all. So if you're just new to YouTube, Faceless YouTube, YouTube automation, and you're like, I don't have any skills for production, this is the tool you should highly look into. Not being paid to say it, I just use it myself. So this is going to be a bit more costly because there's a lot more going on in the tool than with TubeGen. So it's going to cost you roughly $15 per 10 minutes of video. Let's call it like it is. Maybe you're only actually uploading one video per week. Then it's going to be about $60 per month, which is pretty reasonable. And you can still make a good amount of money uploading one video per week. I'm just simply sharing the strategy I would use because, again, if I want faster results, then I need to do more testing faster. But for the average person doing this alongside your 9-to-5 job, your family, you can easily start to build up a channel by just uploading one video per week, making it very cost effective. Now let's talk about the ideation process for building your channel. So I highly recommend that you use vidIQ to come up with topics for your videos. So let's just dive into how you would do just that. So let's take a look again at this example channel that we've been talking about over the course of this video. So if we take a look right here, we go back to the channel. One of the tools that you want to use, like I said, is vidIQ, and here's why I like it. Number one, it's very easy to see breakout videos on the channel. So typically you do want to be going after outlier videos because outliers are videos that are getting above average views on the channel. So again, what does that tell us? It tells us that there is excess demand or unusually high demand for that particular topic or video than normal. But we also want to use vidIQ because it's one of the only tools that shows us the views per hour on a video. So views per hour is basically saying how many people are watching this presently, right? So you have some videos that are getting not a lot of viewership, right? 10 views per hour, not a ton. And then you have other ones that are getting 400, almost 2,000, 300. And so my recommendation for you is to really look at which of these topics are getting the most viewership right now, and then you would want to use that as a data point for coming up with your own topics. So what does that look like, right? This video is doing particularly well. Maybe we're in the personal finance niche. Okay, fantastic. How can we bring this topic over? Or if we're already in the psychology niche instead, what can we do? So let's just say that we're potentially going to be pursuing two different options, right? Let's talk about it if we're trying to take this topic and bring it over to a new niche, or if we're in the same niche. So let's say we're building that personal finance channel, the psychology of people who don't save for retirement. This is insane, right? So thinking about an archetype of person and how they think, basically leveraging this very popular topic format, which is the psychology of people who. Now, maybe you're already in this niche and you don't want to just simply copy this video, right? Okay, well, what's tangential to people who cry easily? People who stress a lot? People who have high anxiety? This is what you want to do, right? Is think about something that is going to be tangential to the topic that's already performed well. Now, my recommendation for you on top of this is that you can just simply go in and be like, okay, the psychology of people who stress a lot. Fantastic. So why would I do that, right? I do that because I want to see if the supply of videos on that topic is high. If it's high, that means that there's going to be a lot more competition. Now, you having a unique format definitely helps you out, but again, still, that will only take you so far as you're building your channel. You also want to focus on videos and topics that ideally are not in a lot of supply, so that adds extra novel value to them, getting people more interested and more likely to watch your video. And if you want to build your channel together and make this process 10 times easier, click the link in this video's description.